Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Very excited to be here today. I want to give a special thank you to Mr. Tony Martin, who all of us know, who has, through his outstanding leadership and service, worked tirelessly with many of us to bring the My Brother's Keeper chapter here at UMass Boston to fruition. We are excited and honored to be a part of it. My name is Dr. Joseph N. Cooper. I am the Special Assistant to the Chancellor for Black Life. And my first title, which I'm very honored, which speaks exactly to what My Brother's Keeper is all about, is I am the inaugural Dr. J Keith Motley Endowed Chair of Sport Leadership and Administration here at the university. All of you will hear from former Chancellor Dr. Motley at near the end of today's ceremony, but from the standpoint of mentoring, which is what My Brother's Keeper was founded on, the transformative power of mentoring, the idea that none of us knows ultimately where we're going without having support from those who have led before us. So all of you, the inductees today, when President Barack Obama, who as we know is the president in US history, created My Brother's Keeper, the goal was to address persistent challenges facing young boys and men of color. We recognize throughout history that there have been a range of distinct challenges impacting us, but we also recognize our resilience. We recognize our resolve. We recognize our ability to work together to overcome any barriers that we face and ultimately to uplift our communities. So we are saying congratulations to all of you who will be part of the inaugural My Brother's Keeper chapter here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. At this time, we will transition to a pre-recorded video by our current Chancellor, Marcelo Suarez Orozco.
It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the My Brother's Keeper induction ceremony. My name is Marcelo Suarez Orozco, and I have the deep honor and great responsibility to be Chancellor of Boston's only and great public research university. My Brother's Keeper is animated by the ethic of care and engagement, solidarity and mentoring that is at the heart of the ethos of UMass Boston. As we know, President Obama launched My Brother's Keeper in February 2014 to, quote, address persistent opportunity gaps facing boys and young men of color, and to ensure all youth can reach their full potential. In the late 2017, My Brother's Keeper Alliance became an initiative of the Obama Foundation. Within the Obama Foundation, My Brother's Keepers Alliance focuses on building safe and supportive communities for boys and young men of color, where they feel valued and have clear pathways to opportunity, end of quote. As we celebrate today's inaugural chapter of My Brother's Keeper at UMass Boston, I salute the UMass Chancellor Emeritus, Dr. Keith Motley Jr., for his vision and his endeavors to bring the chapter to our campus. Muchas gracias, Dr. Motley. Today, I also salute the 19 inaugural inductees who are being celebrated at this, our first induction. Congratulations and Godspeed. Like every long journey that will take us far, as the wise African proverb reminds us, this is a journey we embark with like-minded partners and communities. It represents a collaborative effort between the Obama Foundation, the City of Boston, Omega Psi Phi, the He Is Me Institute, and the University of Massachusetts, Boston. This initiative represents a significant opportunity to provide our My Brother's Keepers nominees with the kind of support, mentoring, and networking opportunities they will need to thrive and excel beyond their post-secondary education. It is also a chance for our nominees to pay it forward and to give back to the community as they themselves endeavor to become mentors to Boston Public School students. As the great John Dewey argued, we learn best by doing. Our nominees will learn the profound lessons that flow from being our brother's keepers. Thank you, and again, congratulations.
Next up, we will have our Assistant Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Dr. Stephen Neville.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the inductees and to all those who are participating in this program, and particularly to all of those who have been a part of bringing my brother's keeper to the campus of the University of Massachusetts, Boston, and to this community. Tony and I reminisced a little bit about the moments when we were talking about bringing men of color together in this kind of forum and to be supportive of one another as they endeavor to try and achieve their goals here at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And when he brought to me the notion of working through my brother's keeper, what immediately came to mind is that my brother's keeper actually comes from that biblical text that talks about Cain and Abel. And it's a question, and it's actually an eternal question that is always being asked. Am I my brother's keeper? And if I could just take a moment and let the inductees know that your presence here and your reason for being a part of this is to answer that question. It is implicitly a yes and explicitly a yes. A yes to the question of does somebody care? A yes to the question of do I matter? Will somebody pay attention to me? Will I be supported in what I'm doing? Will I succeed? And is there help for me if I get a little lost along the way? Your presence here is that you are an answer to that question, and that is an affirmative answer. And I want to thank you all for making this step and for making this dream into a reality. Thank you all for your presence.
Thank you, Dr. Neville, and thank you for your outstanding leadership here at the university and in the greater Boston community. Next up, we will have remarks from Dr. Keto Swan, the director of the William Monroe Trotter Institute for the Study of Black Culture and full professor in Africana Studies.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper, Dr. Neville. Thank you to Tony Martin for inviting me. Thank you to this amazing audience of bright, young, talented folks I'm really excited to be part of this project. It's truly an honor to be here for this august occasion. And for me, it's perhaps appropriate to quote from former revolutionary, Pan-Africanist, world traveler from Martinique, Frantz Fanon, who told us, several years ago that each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its own mission, fulfill it, and betray it. And that is your task. That's the work that's laid before you, to find your voice, to find your mission, to make your own mistakes, to grow, to push beyond your boundaries and your comfort zones, and to be comfortable in the discomfort of sometimes walking paths that don't look like the norm. That's what marks the leaders of this world, being comfortable with the discomfort of sometimes you have to go a different road. Sometimes you have to blaze new trails. There are sacrifices that come with that work, but the rewards are magnificent. Born in 1925, Fanon himself died at the really young age of 31. That to some of you may not seem like it's very young at this moment in your life and your political development, but it is. It's important to look at folks like Fanon, to study their works, from his books, Black Skin, White Masks, to The Wretched of the Earth. In 30 years, he made an impact on this world. he lived every day like it was his last. And we could debate about, the value of martyrdom, and I'm not suggesting that, but I encourage you all to live like that. Live like today might be your last day. Take your risk. This is the time. The youthful moment that you find yourself in, this is the moment. Don't wait till tomorrow, because you may tell yourself, I'll do these things later. But the energy you have, the vision that you have, now's the time to put this work into action. And I wonder what Fanon would say to us. I think about, the elders, and the voices that we still carry with us in text, but we don't have them at our disposal. But given that, know that the path that you walk, you're not traveling alone. The folks in this room are testimony to the support that you have as you mentor others. You also will need mentoring. So I look forward to helping the program grow and other areas expanding. I'm excited about our potential, possibilities for sister programs aimed at Black women and Black girls. And just know you have an ally in me. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this work.
Thank you, Dr. Swan. Thank you for contextualizing the global Pan-African significance of My Brother's Keeper here at UMass Boston. Our struggle and our resistance is connected to our brothers and sisters across the world. So thank you. Next up, we will have remarks from Mr. Manny Montero, a UMass Boston alumnus.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. As everyone's speaking, I'm reflecting on my time as a student and as an alum who took on a position to serve at UMass Boston and to serve young people in particular. And it's great. It's great to see you too. I was given a time limit, and those that know me know that I may break the rules sometimes, but I'm trying my best to be respectful. I'm not trying my best. I will be respectful and honor the time. I want to start off by thanking Tony for the opportunity to be here this morning or this afternoon to share. I'm honored to be one of the speakers, and I'm grateful to him. I'm grateful to have him as a brother in my life who always calls at the right time, who always shows up at the right time. His words of encouragement, and his decision to step up to the plate when sometimes other people don't, and for his encouragement and love and support for us as people and as men. I want to give a shout out to our Brother's Keeper for the amazing work that they've done and continue to do throughout the city. They also supported myself a few years ago by offering a grant to support the work that I do. I also want to give a shout out to all of the leaders here on the call who continuously do the work to support us as young men. To the young men that will be inducted today, shout out to you, big shout out to you. It takes courage. It takes immense courage to take that step to decide to advance yourself, to develop yourself. And with that, I'll begin. My name is Manny Montero. I am a proud UMass Boston graduate. I graduated a few years ago with a degree in Africana Studies. Shout out to them. Changed my life forever. I'm the founder of a young men's group called Amend, which stands for Ambitious Men Engaged in Necessary Dialogue. And this group was started in 2012 under the leadership of my mom, then mentor, who was overseeing the Success Boston initiative. Her name is Liliana Mickle. Amend was and always is personal, always will be personal. Amend is for the little boys that live inside each of us. Amend was founded to serve a purpose. It started off as personal and eventually became something to serve. As anything that was created, it was created with a purpose, and anything that was created with a purpose was created to serve. Tony asked me to speak here this afternoon to talk about my experience with mentoring. And I had to write down a few quotes from people that have inspired me to become the man that I am today. And to start off, mentoring is personal, as I shared. Mentoring is encouragement. Mentoring is healing. It's uplifting and inspirational. Mentoring is patience. It's confidence. It's leading by example. And it's also leading with integrity. Mentoring is fighting to win. And last and definitely not least, mentoring is love. A few years ago, I was a student at UMass, and I found out news that the biggest male role model in my life, my father figure, my grandfather, had 2 weeks to live. And around the same time, I was taking a course called Malcolm and Martin, which was taught by Tony Vandermeer. And I was juggling some ideas, and the thought of dropping out of school came to mind because that was the easiest way out for me, to walk away. And we were learning all of the struggles of the world. And I went to Professor Vandermeer and I asked him, I said, what are we to do with all of this information? We were learning about the struggles in the 1960s. We were learning about the political climate then and now. And I asked him, I said, what do you want us to do with this information? There was struggles at home. There was struggles out in the world. What are we supposed to do with this information? And Professor Vandermeer said to me, he said, I'm going to tell you two things. He said, number one, he said, struggle is constant. And once you understand that, you have two options. He said, you can either fight or you can be complacent and live with it. And I decided to fight. And I decided and I chose to amend, to take steps to change myself and to change the lives of people around me for the better. I also went to another mentor, Liliana, who, as I shared earlier, was instrumental, immense support, provided me the platform to serve young men. She said to me, she said, find the beauty in the ugliness. Despite the struggle that you're going through, despite what it might look like now, find the beauty. And because of her support and because of those words of encouragement, I continue to pursue. And to this day, I continue to pursue what it is that I'm meant to. Liliana, a few years ago, gave me a card with an image on it. And the image was a replica of an image painted by a man named Gilbert Young. And the image is very similar to that in the flyer that was distributed. And it was of a man reaching down, a Black man reaching down, and another man reaching up. And that image, when Liliana gave it to me, she said, this is what you're doing with the men. This is what you're doing. And I took that image and I posted it in my office at the Jeremiah E. Burke High School where I worked, and I posted it everywhere. It was my wallpaper for a long, long time. And as I looked at that image, a lot of ways when I had conversations with young people, I would say, tell me about this. What is this? Who are you in this image? And they would say that they were the ones on the bottom reaching up, and that I was the one at the top reaching down. And I said, as a matter of fact, you actually play both roles, because in many ways, the mentee or the young person is the one reaching down and pulling up the person who was once receiving the support. So mentoring is that as well. I have a few more pieces and then I promise I'll stop talking. Along this journey, over the last several years, I've come across young men who have said things that have inspired me. And these things have stuck with me. A brother of mine and I were talking about revolution. Revolution was mentioned earlier. And we talked about how the revolution will not be televised. And we both agreed. And we were talking about the fact that the work that we do, the work that my brother's keeper has done, the work that Amend continues to do, is revolutionary work that happens within. And the revolution happens when the healing begins. A lot of us have gone through things, through particular traumas, through challenges in life. And it's because of groups like this, it's because of opportunities like this, the decisions that we've made to improve ourselves, to improve our lives, that is revolutionary. And for some of us, forgiveness is contingent upon our decision to forgive. People that have hurt us, people that have challenged us. A mentor of mine has helped me heal from traumas, heal from pain that I've held on for years, for decades. And it's because of conversations with mentors that's happened. I have a brother of mine, one of my best friends, who said that confidence is based on successful experiences. You're gonna come in contact with people that will remind you and share with you the power and the value that you have. One of my brothers, Winston Pierre, who reminded me of this, that confidence is based on successful experiences, who reminded me of successful experiences to pull from that, to pull through, to push through and get to that next phase in life. And lastly, one of my younger brothers shared this with me, a young man named Ryan Laporte, who was a student of mine when he was in high school. He said to me, you can't lead if you don't serve. So as you embark on this journey, as you take this next step to advance yourself, remember that as you lead, you must also serve. And again, it's an honor to be a part of this conversation. Thank you so much to Tony. I thank God for you, for the amazing man that you are, the amazing work that you're doing with the young men that you're serving. And I appreciate you. I love you. And to the inductees, congratulations. You're doing amazing work and you're going to continue to do that. So with that, much love and peace to all of you.
Thank you, Manny, for the outstanding remarks and very empowering, reminding the young men of their revolutionary power. And we want to thank you for your leadership during your time at UMass Boston and your leadership with Amend. The My Brother's Keeper chapter will definitely be working with you and Amend to continue the empowering work here in the city of Boston. Next up, we have remarks from Dr. David Maron, representative of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I am Dr. David Maron, the Grand Basileus of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I also serve as the chairman of the Council of Presidents of the Divine Nine. I bring you greetings on behalf of Omega. Over 200,000 initiated men in 750 chapters and in 15 countries. These kinds of initiatives are very near and dear to our heart. We have a partnership with My Brother's Keeper, and we've been working with President Obama and his foundation for a long time. Wouldn't even be in this space without brothers like Tabiti Boone, who I know is working behind the scenes kind of to make this happen. I know that Robert Fairchild is working behind the scenes. Both of those men serve as special advisors to me on fatherhood and mentoring initiatives. As I said, we do these kinds of initiatives all over the world. And I'm so glad to be partnering with MBK there in Boston, UMass Boston. We have Brother Lynette Bligen, who serves as our first district representative, who covers that area, his first vice district representative, and their fatherhood and mentoring chairman that are on the ground working extremely hard to make initiatives like this happen. We are known for these kinds of initiatives, but this one is unique. And that's why, although this is my fourth Zoom call this morning, it's still 11:15 here or 11:30 here in Mississippi. This was the one I've been looking forward to all morning because mentoring is so close to our hearts. I live by the words of George Eliot, who says, "What are we here for if it is not to make life less difficult for each other. And so as the young brother was talking, I was thinking about the goal of mentoring is to produce and create mentors. And so being on the call with these young folks is a unique opportunity. Omega tends to do mentoring with schools, with elementary and middle high and high school students. We tend to do fatherhood initiatives with young and older men who might be needing to learn better practices with the men that they are now having to deal with in today's society. This is unique in terms of doing a partnership where we're mentoring Black men, Omega and non-Omega. And it kind of excites me to come on this campus to do that kind of work where we can be and show our impact. I'm excited for this opportunity. We're here to work extremely hard in this effort. We're here to see how we can replicate this effort all across the world. But it has to start someplace. And so we're going to start at UMass Boston. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Marion. And thank you to Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated for your outstanding leadership here in the city of Boston and beyond. Next, we have remarks from Mr. Gregory Blase, the Executive Director of My Brother's Keeper and representative of the Mayor's Office here in the city of Boston.
Thank you, everyone. I'd like to start my remarks by taking a moment of silence for all the lives that were lost through our journey to the Americas, through the hands of law enforcement, through the hands of our own brothers and sisters, and through recently the health pandemic, COVID-19. Thank you, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today. Honestly, I wouldn't be here today without this university. My father came here from the Caribbean, from Dominica, and my mom from Jamaica met at UMass Boston when they're in their mid-20s. So needless to say, I wouldn't be here without UMass Boston. Having said that, they graduated, pursued excellence in their life, and that's just a testimony to the fact that higher education is truly liberating. Knowledge is power. And the more that our nation strives to emulate this inaugural MBK cohort, the faster the progress we will reap and receive. MBK was established by President Obama to finally address our nation's long-lasting, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and economical attack on historically marginalized and systemized persons and community. I'm so proud of you all, the MBK cohort, to embark on this mission. It truly means a world to the future, our nation, and our city. You're not alone ever again. You have a family now, or rather a network, and I cannot wait for all the good fortune that you'll bring, not only this legacy, this program, but this institution of UMass Boston. Again, I'm thankful to be here today. Special thanks to Tony Martin and all the incredible minds at UMass Boston that have come through the doors and that are going to go through the doors through this program. I'm so excited. I can't stop smiling. And I just want to say thank you to everyone here today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory Blase, for your partnership and your support of the My Brother's Keeper chapter here at UMass Boston. Now, I am honored to introduce our keynote speaker, Chancellor Dr. J Keith Motley, and Distinguished Professor in the College of Management. If you would like to know an exemplar of Black manhood, leadership, and excellence, Dr. J Keith Motley exemplifies that in all forms. He is the former chancellor here at UMass Boston from 2007 to 2017, currently a faculty member in the College of Management. He's also the founder of the Sport Leadership and Administration program here at the university, which secured the largest private gift to the university $5 million gift from New Balance. Prior to being the chancellor here at UMass Boston, he served as Dean of Student Services at Northeastern University. He's also the founder of Roxbury Preparatory Charter School and Chair Emeritus of the school's Board of Trustees. He's the founder and education chair of Concerned Black Men of Massachusetts Incorporated and the Paul Robeson Institute for Positive Self-Development, an academic and social enrichment program for school-aged children of color. He's also currently president and CEO of the Eastern Massachusetts Urban League. He also is past chair of the Newberry College Board of Trustees. There are a whole host of accolades and achievements that I could also mention for Dr. Motley, but I also want to mention that he's here today because he loves to support young Black and Latino men. He's also a member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated and Sigma Pi Phi Fraternity, Beta Beta Boule. In terms of educational excellence, Dr. Motley holds bachelor's and master's degrees from Northeastern University and a Doctor of Philosophy from Boston College. He also holds an honorary degree awarded by Northeastern University, and he's a graduate of the University of Pittsburgh Upward Bound program. In addition to being my personal mentor and my personal role model, I believe Dr. Motley's most important titles are that he is the proud husband of Angela Motley and the proud father of Keith Allen, Kayla Amon, and Jordan Kiara. Without further ado, it is my pleasure, my honor, and my privilege to introduce Chancellor Dr. J. Keith Motley.
Good morning, everybody. And good morning, Joseph. I'm just so grateful finally to be able to connect with all of you. So I just want to say to you how proud I am of you, and I'm honored to have you carrying on in the Motley chair and to keep, the legacy of all of us who worked so hard at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, as brothers and sisters and others who happen to be Black and others to make this university what it is today. So thank you. And for your new role and journey that you're going to have as someone leading Black life. Tony Martin. Thank you, man. I am just so proud of you. I'm honored that you allowed me to be here. But I'm also incredibly grateful that you demonstrated that one of the first virtues of brotherhood. You didn't forget, and you don't forget. Whether it's sending students to my class for me to have the honor of learning with them and from them, whether it is including me or making sure that I'm always aware of what's going on around the university, whether it is speaking my name, something that becomes more and more difficult for some as time passes by, except for when they walk around and see the work that we've done together at the beautiful university. But today is all about these young brothers who are going to be inducted into this ceremony. It's also about Steve Neville, however. You see on my screen, it says Steve Neville. He's still carrying me. Steve was an incredible part of the Chancellor team. And so this morning, he made sure I got in, even if it's under his name. And so thank you, Steve, for doing that. And of course, Manny, my man. If they thought they were going to have you get 2 minutes, my brother, almost like they thought they were going to have me do 10, then something was wrong with them. You have a story to tell. You know how proud I am of you. We have had many exchanges over the years, and I'm so grateful for your presence here today. But thank you all that are here. Oh, and also to all those that are on the program. Dr. Swan, you know how much I appreciate you. Gregory Blase, I'm glad that your parents hooked up at UMass Boston and produced you, and now we have you leading this program. I'm also so grateful to our brother who got up this morning and did 4 Zooms and is here from Mississippi. Dr. Marion, who is with Omega Psi Phi, and I'm so grateful for the Divine Nine, and its presence in this whole process. And of course, we're going to hear from Dennis, who's just been a giant for us in Boston for so long. But listen, thank you to all of you for your presence here today, because it reinforces the fact that we're on the right track in this movement to try to make sure that the quality for life for Black males and their families is something that is going to continue to build on and continue to be built in focus towards some excellence. And so as we prepare the future leaders that I'm looking for on this Zoom call today, I am so grateful to have this opportunity to come before you. So my thing to you is be the best you. You know, I arrived in Boston with Tony Vandermeer a long time ago. We came here to this wonderful place when it was on fire around all kinds of issues. We also came when we didn't have the benefit of having this kind of group or all of you. We had an African-American Institute at Northeastern at that time, and that's where not only did we learn our brotherhood, but we also learned to deal with some of the struggles that many of you are going through today. But the most important thing we got was exposure. You know, this kind of exposure opportunity, you getting up on a Saturday, because I know some of y'all just got up, getting up on a Saturday morning or and going into the afternoon to be a part of something like this is amazing. I saw the application process that you had to go through. I got to tell you, when I was you, I may not have filled that out. And I'm so proud of you for doing that. It was comprehensive, it was important, and it talks to the level of excellence that you are at this stage in your life now. And so, you know, I used to come to these opportunities kicking and screaming. And so to see you come into this kind of opportunity ready to serve is incredible. So today, as I Zoom before you, I look on at you through different and also transform eyes. I celebrate you. I want to share with you that this is where you need to begin to, and you should expect to crystallize the dreams and the aspirations you have together as individuals with all of these mentors who have committed to you into a crystallized plan. Oh, Dr. Motley, why we got to start planning now? I'm in school, I'm in graduate school. Plan now. You know, I used to sit under what we called the black tree back in the day at Northeastern University. I told all my boys I wanted to be a college president. They laughed at me because our image of a college president wasn't what was, wasn't me. Years later, when I had the honor to serve this institution, some of those same guys would come through my office and they would look at me, look at my desk, look at me, and they just put their hands in the air. That didn't happen because of Keith Motley. That happened because of people like Dr. Vandermeer, who was in my life, my mentors that were in my life, the presidents that were in my life. A president who happened to be a bridge leader, that means somebody who was culturally different, you know, who helped me meet a black president who happened to be one of the greatest presidents in the history of this country, to see a real model of someone who could do that, who had done that. Those kind of examples you have all around you. So take advantage of them. Some exposure. You know, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. So I love the fact that you were in that Martin and Malcolm class with Dr. Vandermeer, or you get a chance every now and then to come into a class with Dr. Cooper, or you come into some of the sisters that I see that are on here teaching their faces off. You go into their classroom, you get a chance to hear from Dr. Swan, or you sit in my class and you come in here thinking you're going to learn about business, and you learn about your business, but you also learn about yourself. So the hardest challenge you all have is to be yourself in this world where everyone else is telling you to be something else and to be something different. Everywhere you look, They're imaging something that doesn't make it feel like it's you. So it's hard to stay the course. Doc, I need this, I need that, but it's hard to stay the course. So make sure that you do the best you. You don't have to change to be like everyone else. Bring your best you to the game every day. You're part of this inductee group. You're a founding member. You will go down in history at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, because you stood up to be a part of this today. So bring your best you to this. Don't just come to this where you don't think that you have to leverage your identity and some of your core values and beliefs and goals so that you can move forward together as a unit. You know, core values like the centrality of service that I've heard being talked about today. The appreciation of all the unique characteristics that each and every one of you have. You know, I was told by my mentors, don't change who you are. Everyone was telling me in order to become a chancellor, I had to take the route that everyone else took. But I knew if that hadn't happened for someone who was as tall and bald-headed and good-looking as me in 400 years, that I had to take a different kind of route. And that route was just being who I am and being unapologetically who I am, even in that role. Something that many didn't understand, but at some point, you can wake up in the morning and feel good about that. So bring the best you, because you have special strengths, you have special skills, and you have tendencies that are not normally found in the spaces that you're going to be embraced in. And so bring those. Those will help you become successful. Your identity, carry it around with you. It's an asset. I have never hidden from who I am. Carry it as an enhancement of the work that you're going to love to do. The job does not define you. You define the job. Bring your full constellation of skills and values to life. And then it's going to follow you everywhere that you go in your life every day. Be in the business of bringing it all for those that you serve every day. Manny went to someone, they could have just blew him off, but they brought their all to him. I understand that I have, as a result of my cultural background, a range of experiences, a capacity to understand and relate to things that many of my peers simply don't have. I bring sensitivities. You bring sensitivities that others don't. So when you're in these groups, make real connections with each other. Don't just be there passing the Grey Poupon and, you know, pinkies in the air, trying to get by a meeting. You know, little gravy spill on your shirt every now and then. And get down to some real kinds of relationships. You know, maintain the connections that you have with each other, because you never know who you're sitting next to. Tony and I did not know that when we were protesting at Northeastern all those years ago, that one day we would be working together at the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And to this day, lots of people don't know that legacy. Work with your mentors to build a plan that will move you towards your goal. And be greedy. You heard me say mentors. Don't settle for a mentor. Make us jealous. You know, I think I'm your only mentor. And then I hear Manny on there talking about all those other mentors he got. And I hear Joseph talking about, Dr. Cooper talking about the ones he got. And I hear Dr. Neville talking about the ones he got. Make us jealous. You know, my story will tell you that I have mentors. Take advantage of that, but operate out of gratitude for those mentors that you have. And so, you know, I see this as a rite of passage for you. Education is a critical element of every civilization, as you know, but it's also part of our survival as a species on this planet, because it hinges on our ability to prepare that next generation of brothers and sisters to deal with this environment that we live in, whatever it may be. It's a central function of human beings. So when I talk about organizations like this, I talk about 10 virtues that you should have, and 10 virtues that are important part of this rite of passage. And so when we think about swearing you in, discipline is one of those. To be trained and instructed in an orderly fashion. Brotherhood, of course. Being a positive member of a group or society, unity in a common cause. You have a common cause, and you're going to build this brotherhood. Direction in positive destiny. Focusing on a particular goal or cause or development that you'll have as an organization. As the first, you got to set the foundation for the future so that there's a second and that there's succession in this organization. Justice, fortitude, courage, control of thought and action, steadfastness of purpose, and freedom from resentment is courage. It's hard to be free from resentment. It's hard. Takes a lot of courage to do that. Prudence. How you govern and discipline yourselves as an organization it matters, but how you do that as individuals matters. Readiness. Being always prepared. I know when you walk in my class, and you know that if you're not prepared, you're behind the spine. Sebastian Francois on this call made the mistake of calling me Keith one day. And I told him Keith was my son. So when you want to talk, he's over at Northeastern working in the Cabral Center. Go see him. And he was stunned by that. You're not going to walk in somebody else's office and address them that way and you don't know them. But from that moment on, he's become one of the better young men organizing and making things happen on this campus that I know for groups of students in business. Fidelity, faithfulness, the obligation of duty, and those are the 10. So discipline, brotherhood, direction, and positive destiny, justice, fortitude, courage, prudence, readiness, temperance, and fidelity. Those stages of your life, that rite of passage, that movement toward brotherhood is so, so important. And so, a young man sent me a poem on December 15th, 2004. And that poem was, I Refuse to Fail. And so when Tony was telling me we were having a problem figuring out the swearing in today, I figured I would sort of steal something from that poem. And, and I heard Dr. Neville, as he can do, because, he has that pastor in him. He was talking about Cain and Abel and my brother's keeper and all that kind of stuff. And so why don't you all unmute? And I know it's going to sound crazy, but you can sort of repeat after me, because I'll start swearing you in now using this I refuse to fail. So you repeat after me. I refuse to fail.
I refuse to fail.
Though the road to success is as the road to salvation, the road to success, repeat that.
Though the road to success
is as the road to salvation,
the road to salvation,
a slim and narrow road,
a slim and narrow road,
paved with tribulations.
Paved with tribulation.
Difficult these obstacles are,
Difficult these obstacles are,
yet not impossible to overcome.
yet not
not
impossible to overcome.
My keys to success are
My keys to success are
inner strength and application of wisdom.
inner strength and application of wisdom.
I refuse to fail.
I refuse to fail.
I refuse to fall.
I refuse to fall.
I will prevail.
I will prevail.
I can conquer all.
I can conquer all.
I promise to be
I promise to be
my brother's keeper.
my brother's keeper.
Thank you for allowing me to be out here with you all today. You all have hyped me up. You know, I'm so proud of each and every one of you. You look good, and I know you're ready. And so I look forward to interacting with you. You know, I'm getting that second shot next week. So I'll be masked up 3 or 4 times and all that soon, and I'll be checking you out. So I'm looking forward to it. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Motley. That, as always, amazing, empowering, and inspiring words. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support. Thank you for lifting up those of us who are walking in your footsteps and building upon your legacy. Thank you very, very much. This time we'll have Mr. Tony Martin, who will introduce the MBK cohorts.
This is a pleasure and honor, a labor of love, and I tell you what, I can't wait to see what we do. It's my pleasure and honor now to introduce our MBK 2021 cohorts, and I'll do it by name quickly. First of all, Mr. Beckett, Mr. Williams, Mr. Pierre, Mr. Odunkaye, Mr. Barros, Mr. Santiago, Mr. Apiakubi, Mr. Aigi, Mr. Francois, Mr. Minta, Mr. Ulysses, Mr. Hell, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Harrell, Mr. Harrell, Mr. Cadet, Mr. Arias Diaz, Mr. Robeson, Mr. Umar. And that is our 2021 MBK cohort. So in the audience, I know we can't hear you, but we want to give them a hand, and we want to cheer them on. This is such an honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tony, and thank you again for your outstanding leadership. We will conclude our session with music from Dennis Montgomery III, our instructor of Performing Arts Department here, followed by the musician. We will have brief closing remarks, and that will conclude our event. To Dennis Montgomery.
Whatever you believe in, you can be sure that you can achieve. You say it, you say it, believe it, then you can achieve it. You see it, you say it, believe it, you can achieve it. Mountains move the you cannot stay. Whatever you believe in, you shall achieve. Oh, you see it, you say it, believe it, you can achieve. You see The mountain of depression, the mountain of despair, the mountain of sickness, the mountain of second-guessing. You got to tell them, get out of my way.
Thank you, Dennis Montgomery III.
Thank you.
We close this powerful, important, and timely MBK chapter at UMass Boston induction ceremony. We want to thank all of you who attended today. We want to thank all of the panelists. We want to thank everyone who made this event possible. To the young men, the journey you are about to embark upon is going to be memorable, is going to be impactful. You have a village around you. You do not do this alone. As Dr. Motley said, you are doing this together. You uplift each other and you are your brother's keeper. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. And thank you all again for attending the My Brother's Keeper chapter at UMass Boston induction ceremony. Have a great afternoon.